He is one of our alumni, graduate from the 2018 batch, electrical engineering. And if you see his profile, his PhD from Purdue, and right now working in AMD. So probably a dream profile for someone who is looking to work in the electronics and data industry. Uh, so first we'll hand over the mic to him and ask him to share his experiences, advices, and then we can open the house for questions. Is it okay, sir?
Okay, so hello everyone. So my name is Hari Narayana. So I did B.Tech in IIT Indore from 2014 to 2018. So I did my B.Tech in electrical engineering, and after my bachelor's, I went for PhD. I went in 2018 to Purdue University, and I was there for 6 years. I finished my PhD in May 2024. After that, I came back to India and joined AMD. Now, during my bachelor's, I interned at Analog Devices, and during my PhD time, I interned in Intel and Siemens, and which was around for 2 years. So I was working on my PhD thesis for around 4 years, and the remaining 2 years I was working in industry. And after that, I eventually in the US itself, but I had decided to come back to India like way before itself. So I came back to India, and now I'm working in AMD. So basically, for me, the main reason for taking up the PhD was I want to become a professor in the future. So now, for being a professor, like PhD is a must. So right after my B.Tech, without delaying anything, I directly went for my PhD. So yeah, it's been 1 year for me at AMD, and so far so good. So I want this session to be interactive session because I think all the people who are attending are like second years or third years, right? So I think might have like different questions like about things that need to be done at the college at IIT Indore, or for your future, like what do you want to do, like what would be the best strategy. I can give some thoughts about that from my experience.
So, okay, so first we'll start with our questions. We had circulated a Google form before this meet, so we have some basic questionnaire with us. And
Okay.
after that, we'll move on with the chats if someone wants to ask live here.
Sure, sure.
So,
Yeah.
one of the first things like during BTech, what motivated you to join the electronics and VLSI domain? Why not, let's say, software or some other industry? Like usually what BTech people do.
Yeah. So like when I joined my BTech also, I wanted to get into the VLSI domain itself. Like right in my like when I was preparing for JEE and all, also I was a little bit better in physics compared to the other subjects. So I was kind of inclined towards electrical engineering only. And once I have joined, like as you know, like I am thinking like the course wouldn't have changed so much in the past 7 years. So mostly like because we don't have electrical and communications and electrical and electronics, we just have electrical engineering, right? So the courses that would be covered mostly are what, like power electronics, signals and systems, VLSI related, microcontrollers, some digital design, maybe these kind of courses would be there. But if you take a look at the job market right now, most of the job opportunities in the electrical domain, if you wish to stay in this, are mostly in the VLSI domain itself. Now, for example, for power electronics and those kind of courses, mostly the jobs are in the government sector. Now, in the industry, it's mostly driven with VLSI related stuff only. So I was more interested in that right from the beginning. So even in my BTech days also, I was more into that courses, and I was trying to do some projects. And also, yeah, like right from the beginning, I had that motivation. And also like anyhow, I wanted to become a professor in the future. And obviously, like in our college, like not just in our college, in any colleges also, you can see like many a times it would be the situation where the industry and the academia would not be in sync completely. The courses that are being taught are quite outdated, and like the material is also very outdated. And at least when I did my BTech, like the projects and all we were used to do on, like I think cadence softwares or something, and they used to be like 60 nanometer or 80 nanometer technologies, which is pretty old. So now the industry, at least in AMD, right now the work is being done on 2 nanometer, 3 nanometer, and all. So like during my BTech also, I had that feeling that the gap is quite huge. And in the US, like when I was doing my PhD in Purdue, Even there it is there, but it's not this significant. It's little maybe more closer towards what the industry standards are, but still there is a gap. So that's why it was like, okay, I'm interested in the real estate domain. So I thought like it would be better for me to get some experience in the industry and then venture into being a professor, so that I could maybe in the future again help bridge that gap and try to develop new courses which may be more in line with what the industry is actually working on right now. So yeah, that was kind of the idea.
Okay, and like in electronics and VLSI itself, there are many sub and co-domains like analog, digital. Within digital, also you have the digital design and layout, RTL verification, validation, post silicon. So,
Hmm.
which domain are you working on? What domains did you have the internship in, and how did you like find out the interest?
Okay. So during, I mean, in B.Tech, like it's everything is together, right? Like you will be doing everything. You will be writing the RTL design. You will be writing the test bench also, and you will be placing, routing all the wires and all those things also. So it's like completely, it's a package kind of a thing, right? So broadly, in the industry, there are four divisions basically. So one is the RTL design, where you will be actually developing some hardware. The other is DV, which is design verification, where we will be working on writing test benches, adding forces, and all that sort of a thing. And one is DFT, which is design for test. So design for test basically means like now all these chips are very complicated chips, right? So to once the chip is fabricated, it is almost impossible to test it and figure out what the actual issues are inside that, where we need to tune the fabrication so that such faults do not occur in the upcoming chips. So what it usually is done is like, so let's say you have some hardware in your chip. So along with that hardware, additional hardware will be added just to facilitate to test the chip. So how that hardware is developed, and once that hardware is inserted into the circuit, how do we generate test patterns, and how do we apply those test patterns, and those kind of things are related to design for testing. So that is one more division. And the fourth division is physical design, where you will be actually placing the gates, routing the wires, all those things. So my PhD was in DFT. I was working in the design for test field. So I did my PhD completely in that. I don't think you guys would be having much knowledge about that, because in bachelor level course, usually design for test topics are not usually taught. It's usually in a master's level course you will be taught about that. But this is the overall idea of that. So I did my PhD there. But now at AMD, the division I'm working is RTL design. Like now I'm into developing the hardware, making the connectivity, clock connectivity, debug connectivity. So that's my work profile right now. So again, so since I anyway wanted to get into the professor domain, so I wanted to like get a understanding, like at least a broad understanding of all the different divisions, so that would help for me personally. That would be actually helpful. So that is how my career is going as well.
Yeah, you're right. Like B.Tech courses are usually very focused on only one aspect. So
Yeah.
yeah, we got to know about this only during our internships and JDs. They usually
Yes.
ask you the domains and all.
Yes. Yeah.
So your first internship, like in analog, that was towards analog or digital? The first.
Yeah. So in analog devices, my the internship that I did in analog devices was related to embedded firmware development. So there, basically, I was working in analog garage. So there, I worked on, if I remember correctly. So there was a project where basically they had these microcontrollers, ARM-based microcontrollers, and that is developed by analog devices. And their chips are usually ASIC chips. Basically, they will be particularly specified for one particular application. So I was working on a digital signal processor. So its main functionality was that. So we were working on collecting some data from like a apple or some fruit, basically, and the whole idea of that project was to extract the nutrient values and all those things from the fruit, and then upload it to the data, and then you can have that information on the go whenever you want. So that was kind of the overall idea of the project, and my work was more related into programming the registers, getting the data, applying the image processing algorithm, and all those things that the chip was able to do, and then sending that data to the cloud. That was more related to what I did in analog devices. So that was that. And then during my PhD in Intel, I interned for 6 months. So that was more related to my PhD area. I mean, not exactly related, but somewhat related. So in that, I was working. So you have these connections, right? Like PCIe, USB. USB is like a very known thing, right? That where you interact with the external world. PCI is one more such kind of a connection, and there are other connections also. So I was working there on checking the health of those ports, how it is working, is it matching the required bandwidths, is the data going at the specified bandwidths, if not, what is the issue. I was more into debugging that thing. So that was what I did for 6 months in Intel. Then coming to Siemens, so Siemens was a pretty big internship. It was for 1.5 year. So it was basically kind of part of my PhD also. So usually in the US, how it says, like once you go for a PhD program, you will be working with a professor, right? Like with a supervisor. Now, my supervisor had these connections with Siemens, Cadence, and all these companies, where the students would be going there and working on a project. And in the academic domain, again, like even in the US also, you would be still using only the tools. You will not be having any source code. You will not be working directly internal to any tool, and you will not be running whatever you develop. You will be just running them on some open source benchmarks, basically, to validate them and check and see how good your things are performing. You'll be just doing on some open source things. So in this experience, basically, so I was at Siemens, so we were working on developing some hardware to uh, developing that some hardware that can detect delay faults, basically. So I can give you some idea about a delay fault means. Basically, so over a chip, over the lifetime of a chip, things get slowed down, right? Like the frequency, everything is reduced. In the clock frequency, everything is reduced. Now they do that because the delay of each individual gate in the circuit increases as time goes on, because of the wear of the silicon and all. So eventually, combinational parts between two different flip flops will start failing because of that increased delay indicates. So we developed some hardware so that that can give us some alarms and let us know when a path is failing, so that we can do some remedy measures and all that. So there in Siemens, basically in that 1.5 year, I was working in that, developing that hardware which can give some alarms and can let the users know that, okay, this chip is going to fail very soon. Many of the parts are failing. So do something about it, like reduce the frequency or again any other thing that you want to do. So I was working in that one. So it was part of my PhD also, but not exactly part of my thesis. So that was one other experience that I had.
So you have explored many domains like from RTL to DSP to physical design to design for testing.
Yeah.
One thing that you have made very clear, like you wanted to become a professor and go into this research field. Why
Yeah.
so much so? Like, why? How did you get to know in the bachelor days itself that you want to go into this research domain?
Yeah, so partly comes from my upbringing. So my father is also a professor, like so he's a professor here in Christ University. So like growing up, also I have seen his life. So I like we're pretty up close. So that kind of gave me some kind of an idea that I might want to become a professor someday. And then after I have joined, like so again, you guys might. I'm talking mostly to second years or third years.
There is a mix. Like third years are a bit less, but second years are I think more number.
Or more.
Third years are
Okay. Yeah, I think eventually you guys will get to know that. So basically, the kind of life that you want to live, like the decisions that you make for your career, is basically the kind of life that you will be living later on, right? So of course, like this kind of a job, a corporate job, would be definitely very interesting right now, because I was in your shoes. So this is all where the big money is and all those things. So that is something that I was also kind of interested in at some point. But this comes with responsibilities, and this comes with a particular set of lifestyle. Now, being a professor, again, that will come with a different set of responsibilities, and there will be a different lifestyle in that as well. So I was more like more interested in doing research, and like maybe spending my time more into research, and I also enjoy teaching. So that is one other thing. And again, like if you are in the industry point of view, uh, if you are in the particular area where you are working on and you happen to like that area, then maybe you can work on something. You will be happy doing that. You will be maybe doing some research, and that's okay. But many a times this will be the case where I've seen like my fellow PhD students also do that. Their core interest would be in something. They may have done their PhD in that, and even then they would be doing some job which is not related to their PhD area. Now this is a very common occurrence that happens because you need to be practical about what works also, right? There will be only very few research questions available, obviously, because majority of the company's goal is not to do research but to like roll out products and to earn money, right? So there will be very few research positions in any domain that you take. So if you specifically pick one domain, and if even if you do PhD in that, if you are like very focused and like you have taken all the right steps, there's a good chance that you might land such a job. But if not, then you would be doing some other kind of a job where even if you want to do research, you need to do in that. And again, over time also, maybe your interest will change. So then you cannot just switch and start researching into some other topic. Now if you become a professor, basically you'll have all the flexibility in the world, like you can try to like work on anything. And I have seen many professors in Purdue also, they would be working on multiple different projects which are like completely not related to each other at all. They just are like they are passionate about one thing, they have been doing that for some time and they are good at it. Now they just want to explore some other thing also because now that's the hot thing in the market, so they start working in that also, and they will spend some good amount of time in that also. So you have that flexibility basically. And along with that, like again, as I said, like the overall life will be also very different if you are a professor. Again, if you are a industry guy, it will be a very different thing. So again, I'm not suggesting anyone to take up this thing. Again, it's a very personal choice to make. uh, I'm just telling like my experience and why I have taken this thing. So this is a very like individual thing to think about, like how you want to live your life, how you want to do research, how you want to, what kind of a job you want. Many people don't want to do a research job. They just want to do they just want to have like their own personal life and they just want to do the job and be done with that. Some people would want to do research and get into the top of things. And if you are in industry, again, like you will be working on cutting edge research. As I said, like even though academia is maybe a little closer in the US to the industry, there is still a gap. So even in the US, if you become a professor also, it's not like we'll be working on the latest technology. That will only happen in the industry. So again, it's basically everything has pros and cons. So it's up to you and how what you want to do. It's at a personal level you have to make that decision.
So your main point is that although corporate R&D might have be a little closer to the cutting edge technology, but you get a like a wider degree of freedom when you are in.
Of course, because like you will be in that field for some time, like maybe like you will be working in that for 5 to 10 years, maybe. Then after 5 to 10 years, if you want to switch completely and move into a different area and start working in that research division in a completely different area, it I won't say that it's not possible. Again, you can be practical about it. It will be little difficult, right? Because all your background, everything is again embedded in one field. And many times it will be the case where you will actually start liking it because you have been doing it for a long time. So your expertise is in that, your knowledge is in that, so you would want to actually enjoy that also. I'm just telling all the different possibilities basically. So again, you guys are all in IIT Indore. I would say that you are smart enough to make that choice yourself. So
So now, like once we're talking about research, how did you like the research work at Purdue? Like, how was it satisfying, or was it like many people say that it's just publishing papers day on day out?
okay, so at least my experience was very good. So I had like complete flexibility, like to work on whatever I wanted. And my professor also, like she was very open to ideas. She was like completely like I had complete freedom. I could do anything that I wanted to do. But I'll just tell you guys in a broader sense, like how it would be. Like maybe eventually I'll come to masters because many of the students will eventually go and do masters. So I'll touch that point also. But the PhD point, since you asked, so it basically depends on your professor. It's completely dependent on your professor. Now, few professors will have a lot of funding, and when they have a lot of funding, so basically in your PhD you will be paid to work, right? You will get a stipend basically. So now few professors will have a lot of funding, so they would be like, okay, the student comes up and they tell them, okay, I want to maybe research in this particular field. They will be okay, fine, you can do that. Money is not an issue. But for some professors, maybe they have like a limited funding, and that for limited funding is corresponding to few projects. Then you would only have to work in those projects because you are being funded by that money, and that money is for that particular project. So then you have to be work. You have to work in that project, whether you like it or not. You have to work in that. You have to get some results in that. Maybe if you still want to do something more, you can do it in your free time. That you can definitely do it on your side, but you cannot cannot ignore this and just tell that, okay, I don't like this project, I don't want to do this, I want to do something else. That won't be a possibility because that professor has limited funding and that is only for those projects. So in such a case, you have to work in that project only, whether you like it or not. Now, in other cases, what happens is like there will be no funding with the professor. The student chooses his own field. He will be working in his own passionate area. He'll be working in that, and then he'll be doing a teaching assistantship. Then he will be basically paid by the college. So the professor has no say in that. So as long as your professor is okay, this area is good enough, you can work in that. You can continue doing that, and then there will be this additional burden of doing a teaching assistant. And in US, basically teaching assistant is it takes a lot of your time. I have seen few friends like who were in doing teaching assistantship. It takes quite a lot of your time. So those are the three basic things. Now, if someone wants to go for PhD, I don't know which category they might fall into, but I was in the second category where the funding was for that particular project only, and I was fine working for the project. I didn't have any issue. So basically, my interests were also aligned at that point, and I had fun doing that. So yeah, that was my case. There were people who were in the first case also who were doing random things, and there were people who were doing things and are also doing TS on the side. So you will have all kind of things. Basically, PhD is like a more individual journey. So even if I tell you guys my story, and if one of you guys eventually, once your B.Tech is done, you go on and do your PhD, you might have a completely different experience. So just overall, this is like how the funding works. Funding thing will be definitely similar. So it depends a lot on your professor, basically, to summarize it. So if someone is thinking of going for a PhD, they need to be very sure that they have talked with their professor, discussed all the things that they want to do, and then only join the PhD, because it's a very long journey. So, and again, it's a very individualistic journey. So you need to make everything clear from your side, and also what are the professor's expectations. Also, you need to be clear about that. And most of the professors are very honest. They will be upfront about things. They will let you know what would be the scenario first or second or third. Then, based on that, you can make a call.
Also, like about like relaxation or mostly like work-life balance, as you call it. So, is the research work and academia work a bit more chilled out or much more stressful as compared to industry?
Um, that is not a straightaway answer actually, because it depends on how driven you are. I think everything comes down to that point. Even if you are in academia, you can be like driven very much, and you will be working like all day long, 24/7. That might be a case also, or you can take it at a relaxed pace also. Now in industry, yeah, that flexibility might not be there that much, because you will be having these responsibilities, right? Like maybe when you join, just like me, like right now I'm senior design engineer only. So that is not an entry level question, but it's an entry level question for a PhD guy. And my whole work experience is only 1 year till now, because I just did internship. So in the beginning, maybe it will be a little more relaxed, but eventually as you go up the ladder, like maybe you go to director, senior director and all, you will be you will be having many responsibilities. So then completely chilled out life, work life balance and all, I think it's practical to have a reasonable expectation from that, because you are also being paid huge amounts of money. So now you can't expect both the things, right? Like both huge amounts of money and also a very chill life. So that is the trade-off that people have to make it. And it's exactly the same in US also, because I interned there. I have worked with many guys who are full-time employees, and I know both kind of people. Like few people are like, okay, even if I get promotion 1 2 years later, it's fine, I don't care. Some people will be very driven, they will be working all the time. So yeah, it again, it depends like what kind of a life you want. And yeah, it's up to the person basically.
And yes, thank you for that. And so, like on a personal note again, you chose to come back to India after 6 years of work in the US.
Hmm.
Like, why was that? Why was you, willing to work here rather than joining there itself as a professor?
Yes. So yeah, that is again, like again, it's a very personal choice that I made. So basically, I am a single child to my parents. So, and my parents are like okay, like they are middle class people. So, and we don't have any huge debts and all that kind of thing. So, and since I'm the only child, like I personally wouldn't want to just leave them here and work there, because right after my PhD, I had the Siemens job. I mean, any other job also I could have easily got. That's not at all an issue. Like because again, all you guys are doing B.Tech in IIT Indore, so you already have like the basic requirements already set up. So even if you go there also, I would tell this as a suggestion to everyone: don't be scared that there is Trump and there is like job market is bad and all. It's not for you guys. You guys would be fine. Even if any of you guys go, you guys would be fine. So yeah, like for me, basically, I did not want to like stay there forever. That's definitely not on the cards, because like I'm a single child to my parents. I definitely wanted to come back. Now after coming back, like I wanted, as I said, like I wanted to become a professor, but so in IITs and IISc Bangalore, there is this requirement that you have to work for 3 years at least. You either do a postdoc or you do work in industry for some time. So that's the criteria, minimum criteria. So, or for all the IITs and for IISc Bangalore. So, for 3 years, I have to work in industry because I did not want to do a postdoc anymore. Then I had a choice whether I want to do the postdoc there in the US, work in the industry in the US or here. There are a couple of professors in IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, and IISc Bangalore also. There are a couple of professors who took that route, where they finished their PhD, worked there for some time, like maybe 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and then came back and joined as a professor. That was one option, but I did not want to stay there any longer than required, because again, I'm very close with my parents, so I wanted to stay with them as much as possible. So yeah, that's why I thought like I don't need that. And anyhow, like if I am going to become a professor in the future, like those just 3 years is not going to help a lot, because if you want to like basically understand things, make some significant contributions meaningfully, you need to work for at least 5 to 10 years, because there is already a lot of progress in each and every segment in the VLSI industry. Not just in the VLSI industry, you can take any other field also. The things that you learn in B.Tech are like very prerequisites basically. And even if you do masters and PhD also, even the things there you learn also, it will be like not even only if you do PhD, then you would know like what is the latest things that is happening in your current area. But many people, they don't do that, right? So usually people do either bachelor's or masters, right? So once you join industry, you would actually get to know like how advanced each and every aspect of the chip manufacturing is. So to learn all those things itself will take a lot of time, like to understand like why each and everything is working the way it is. It will itself take a lot of time. Only then you can maybe start contributing slowly, and then make starting contributing significantly. So now this whole thing, which will take easily 5 to 10 years, it won't happen in 3 years. So that was also one other thing, like and I was anyhow not that interested in making money, so I was like, okay, it's fine. Like I wanted to do the PhD from Purdue, that's done, so I just leave. So I came back right away. So
Also, yes, thank you for that. You also encourage us in saying that, like, we being from writing, we can, like, we shouldn't be scared of that job market stuff.
yeah, yeah, no need to worry about that.
So,
Like
like, many of our seniors, even in the fourth year right now, they went to CMU, Carnegie Mellon, Georgia Tech. They went for masters. So,
hmm.
what's the market like now? That like, what kind of jobs can we expect? Can we expect jobs uh, in that same VLSI industry if we go right now?
Yeah, basically, so like for anyone who's thinking of going and doing something like that, I would say like because like I think when I studied, like there were only few batches that graduated. Now it's, I think, at least seven more batches have graduated after I graduated. So I think you have much more alumni network right now. So I would say like I think in any of the decent colleges, in the top 10 colleges, if you take a look at it, like the top four being the MIT, UC Berkeley, Caltech, and Stanford, or the next ones like CMU, Georgia Tech, Purdue, UIUC, UCLA, UCSD, all these colleges, you definitely have tons of college people. So I would suggest, like, if anyone wants to go and like pursue masters there, I would suggest reach out to them and ask the courses that they have done. So you can basically, when you go there, like right from the day one, you would know what courses you need to do, at least a rough idea. Like, so usually in masters you do 10 courses, so you'll at least have a rough idea on what 10 courses that you have to do. Maybe you can switch here and there, but I think college specific wise, I think you can get the information from our seniors. Like, I think most of the guys would be helpful. Like, if you reach out to two three guys, I'm sure at least one of them would respond to you guys and let you guys know what courses that he has done in his masters. So if you do the same thing and like just like maintain some good pointer there and like be serious with your projects, you will land a job. It's not that difficult. Again, this is only a statement because everyone is from IIT Indore, so that's why I'm telling you. So I'm expecting that you guys would go there and do the same hard work that has brought you to IIT in the first place. So if you go there and slack off, then all bets are off. But yeah.
Yes. Also, one more thing that intrigues us a lot is that we already get certain multinational companies, and they're American companies like Nvidia, Texas, and all analog devices that come here on campus. They offer jobs as well. So, what is the quality of work like in USA and in India? Like, you have worked here in analog devices and AMD. You have worked there as well.
Yeah. So it's more or less it's complementary. It's very complementary. Like the work that happens there and here, it's very complementary. So you can actually work here also, because in the previous days, like maybe the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, you would see that almost all the IIT guys used to leave to America because there was no private sector in India at all. Now, you, as you said, like there are many opportunities right now in India also. So like of course, when you join as a DE1, or like basically right after your B.Tech, if you join, the kind of work you might be doing, you might think that, oh, what is this is like very basic level job and all. But again, once you keep growing in the ladder, you will definitely get some really important jobs that actually go into the manufacturing of the chip. So I think recently when I was in so basically I was working in AMD Hyderabad for some time after I came back to India. Now I have moved to Bangalore. So when I was there, Lisa Su, who is the CEO of AMD, she visited Hyderabad. So she was telling something like every AMD chip that is being fabricated right now in the world, a part of it has been worked on in India. Like at least some part of it, the DV part of it, RTL part of it, DFT part of it, almost every division, every division, some part of it is being done in India. So you will definitely get like a similar kind of job. Like and again, even if you go there, also you will be basically doing the same kind of job. And this happens many times because when I was in my B.Tech, so Intel came. So when Intel came, four guys got selected. Me and three other guys got selected. Out of which me and the other guy, he went for masters, I went for PhD. The remaining two guys, they joined Intel. Now, when they joined Intel, one guy, he worked for like 2 years or 3 years in Intel, and then he came for masters in UCSD. I think you guys know UCSD is our college favorite college to go to. So
Yes,
uh, yeah, so he came to UCSD. He finished his masters there, and then he came for interviews. And basically, in the interview, he just talked about the work that he did there, and the interview was that's it, done. And he got into Apple, and he's now working in Apple, and he's doing the exact same job that he was doing in Bangalore. It's exactly the same, only the salary is different. It's in dollars, here it's in rupees. That's the only difference. So I talk with him quite often. Like I asked him, like, is there any different of a job and all? He said like it's exactly the same. That's why he basically got used to it also very quickly, because it's the same job, same software. Just because it's in Apple, the maybe the tools they have been using or the framework or the flows might be a little different, but it's the exact same job. So yeah.
So, like even in terms of salary, people say that purchasing power parity there is higher. That's for the
Correct.
salary justified.
Yes.
So, essentially, who should then do a masters and go find a job there? Like, if the quality of the job remains the same.
Yeah, so again that's a personal preference. Like now if you decide to take up a job in India, of course, purchase power parity wise, of course they are all like leveled. That's why like you have different salaries for different countries. Even if you go to, let's say, Malaysia or Canada, it won't be the salary in US, right? It would be according to their purchasing power. So the kind of job you will get would be comparable. It won't be very different or anything like that. But the quality of life and the aspects of life will be very different. Now, if you live there, obviously you guys might have seen American TV shows, so you know kind of like how the life there might look like. So that is one thing maybe a few people would get attracted to, and they would want to live such a lifestyle. Then they make that choice. Now people who would want to remain here would be more like, I'm thinking like kind of me, who are very close to their families and they want to interact with their families, their friends, and everything like from their childhood, and they kind of take this route basically. So this is again a personal choice that people make, whether you want that kind of a lifestyle or this kind of lifestyle. Job wise, I would say if you are doing masters strictly, I wouldn't say that there would be much of a difference. If you do PhD and you land a research role eventually, now that's a different ball game. But if you are doing masters and doing a job there, uh, like the kind of job would be similar, but the lifestyle would be obviously very different. Like because yeah, I mean like only if you experience that you can tell that. But I think you have already seen TV shows, and also it's a different lifestyle. So people who many people gravitate towards that. So that is one thing people do, and few people would be okay, we like the lifestyle that we have here already, so they just get a job here. And again, these are very high paying jobs, like once you go to like higher positions, it's all in crores only. So that's a different lifestyle. So yeah, that's where you make that call.
And many people also consider Europe or Japan in terms of electronics. What do you say about that? Like,
Okay, so for other countries, I would suggest, like, if possible, better go to the US, because US is where all the companies are headquartered. So the majority of the job opportunities will be placed in US. Like US is known as the land of opportunities for a reason, because like all the companies, all this tech sector, all the startups, if you want to talk about also everything, I think the environment there is much more suitable for that. So the number of opportunities that you will get in US, you would not get it anywhere else in the world. So like if you guys are thinking maybe different country and all, I would say yeah, Europe is a good place to go to. Japan and all, like I would suggest like to think about twice, because any country where English is not the medium of communication, you might face some difficulties in your day-to-day life. So that is one thing to factor in when you when you choose a decision. So but again, opportunities wise, I think yeah, I mean, if you are getting some good job there or a good master's program and you have like a clear cut goal, then I think yeah, you can go for it. But just as a general observation, I can tell that in US the number of opportunities is way higher. So
okay, okay.
basically that is the main like craze also, right? Like so many people go there also for that reason only, because the opportunities is like so like I can tell you an example, like so Amazon, I think, comes to our college, right? Like even in my time also it used to come. Now to get into Amazon, it's a little difficult, it's not so easy. Like people will be all these CSA guys would be working, all these coders guys, they would be working on ACM, ICPC and all those things. Obviously Amazon is not the top paying job in our country, but it's one of the decent jobs that you get. So there is a quite good competition there. But in the US, Amazon is like one of the easiest companies to get into. So that's the difference. So there, the number of opportunities are so high that it doesn't need for you to be like a really top notch to get into. So the number of opportunities are really high there. But now with Trump and all, I understand like the people's concern, like what will happen if we don't get a job, what will happen to the H1B and all. Yeah, those are legit concerns that I agree with. But again, everything is basically a trade-off at the end of the day. So you just have to weigh your options, see what kind of a life you want to lead, and then make the choice.
Yes, thank you. Also, so now, uh, diverting from this PhD route, we were looking at your LinkedIn profile. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile. It was so one thing that struck out was I think you were listed as a co-founder of a startup.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was something me and my friend started, but yeah, it didn't pan out. So yeah, it was very brief only. We wanted to do something after I came back. So basically, my one other friend, like he's also from IIT Indore, like we studied together, and he was my classmate in 12th also. Like we did JE coaching also together. So very good friend of mine. Later, he went to IIM Lucknow. He did his MBA there, and he knew few other people. So we all wanted to do something with that, and we did for some time. But yeah, it wasn't panning out. Basically, not everyone was on the same track. So yeah, we didn't take it further. So yeah.
so now let's like for us in the third year or second year, uh, if we are aiming for a master's or a sort of role. So should we do some research work here itself under some professor, or PTP would be sufficient?
No, no, no. If you are doing purely for masters, my suggestion would be to get your pointer as high as possible. If just do that, like as high as possible of a pointer, if you have, the better your chances are. For masters, it's pretty straightforward. Like your GRE, TOEFL, all those things, they don't matter that much. So just your is pointer is what it matters. So like and for anyone in the audience like who wants to do a masters, just get your pointer as high as possible. Now, if you want to do for a PhD and all, it's a different story. Then you have to work with some professor, like I think Pachori is like quite a approachable professor, Vimal Bhatia or someone else. Like anyone, if you guys like, you can start talking to the professor and work on something. And by the end of your B.Tech, if you can publish some paper and all, that will be also very helpful for you. But again, that's only for if you're going for a PhD kind of a thing. If you're going for masters, I would say whatever time you will be spending in research, better spend it on your courses and get a better pointer. So, like a pointer matters a lot actually because that is the sole reason they judge the profile on. So, I would suggest like everyone to get as high as a pointer as possible.
And what about industry internships? Like, do they matter in the profile? Uh,
Yes, of course. Like because like once you are, I mean, like you might decide at this point of time in your second year or third year that you want to go for a master's, but not you cannot predict anything in life, right? So it's better to have like multiple backup options available. So I would say like if you guys can do an internship and if you can get a pre-placement offer something like that, then that's definitely a plus because. It might be because of any unforeseen reason that you decide not to go for masters, then you will have a backup option, right? So basically I would say like get your pointer as high as possible, try to do internships as much as possible. And also one other thing is like if you do an internship, actually you will see the difference in the between the academia and industry, and like you can see where you can actually where you are lacking and where you might want to focus your energies and learn more. So that is also one other perspective that you will get from an internship. So yeah, internships if you guys can get, that is definitely something you need to look for. I would suggest like try to look at some Indian startups and all because that's where the most learning that will happen. Like rather than in MNCs, of course, if you get an MNC, I'm not suggesting don't do that. I'm just telling you guys like if you get an MNC, well and good, you can do that. If you're not getting any internship in an MNC, even if it's a startup, also don't hesitate, just go into that because that experience will matter a lot. Like because you are only exposed to one kind of education right now, that will be a completely different kind of a thing. So yeah, I would definitely encourage like everyone to get an internship. It doesn't matter where, like just do an internship. That will actually help you.
and talking about pointer, what is a safe pointer to maintain? And if not, like if it's a little below, then how do you compensate for it?
Safe pointer is definitely 8 plus. Try to get 8 plus. Like 8 plus is definitely a safe pointer, and I think you guys already know like for IAMs it's 8.5. Only if you are above 8.5 you'll get some 10 points for that particular pointer, and if you're from 7.5 to 8.5, I think you will get some 9 points or something for the MBA program I'm telling about. So if you are going for that route in MBA route, which many people will tend to do, so then you need to go for 8.5 or something like that. But for masters, 8 plus is always a safe pointer. If you are in your sevens, it is little tricky. You will still get a good college most probably based on your college and all. If you have like other things in your resume, you still get it, but better safely than sorry. So better have more than 8. More than 8 is always a safe bet.
Any other skills that like will matter if like I should run a lab for cadence or something like that, learning
Mm,
virtues or maybe if that.
yes, it won't help you a lot, but if you can do it and get some experience on that, I think it would help more in boosting your confidence more than like having anything to do with your like I don't think writing some project in your resume is going to help your master's chances a lot. Maybe it does, again I don't know, I'm just speaking from my experience. But if you do some projects and like let's say you are like fluent with some tool, like you have done some at least for the VLSA domain, again the whole topic I'm basically talking in that domain, but it applies to everything else. Because I have done in this, I'm just focusing more on that. Like if you like maybe write some Verilogs and maybe write some test matches and you have some fluency with that, then it'll boost your confidence a lot. So I think preparing for an interview is one thing where you can obviously like study and go through the material and all those things, but now developing that confidence is another thing that you cannot learn from anything, that will only come through practice. So maybe that thing, if you guys are doing it, I think it will help boost your confidence. I think that is a much more important thing. So yeah, if you guys have time, then go for it, but not at the expense of pointer is what I would suggest.
And what about letters of recommendation? Like that is one thing that shows up a lot in these foreign applications. Where did
Yes.
you
So
do it
yeah,
from?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So oh, where did I take from? So you asked where did I take from, or where you guys should take from?
Like you can tell yours also and then suggest us also.
Okay. Yeah. So I took two from our college only, and one I took from Analog Devices mentor. Like when I worked in Analog Garage, like he knew me pretty well. Like I worked for 6 months, so he gave me one, and two I got from our college only. Yeah, they definitely matter. So that is one thing where maybe if you are doing a project with the professor might actually come into play, because if you did something with him, maybe he will give you a better letter of recommendation. Because for otherwise the recommendation would be, I'm guessing you guys would approach a professor, tell him that okay, I took your course, I got 9, 10, whatever, give me a letter of recommendation is the max that you guys can do, and he will give a generic profile. Obviously it will be generic to every student, because what can he say, he doesn't know you at a personal level, right? So maybe if you do some project, maybe the letter of recommendation will be more personalized. So that is one thing that you guys can try for. But again, these are all good things to have. Like writing a strong SOP is a good thing to have. Having strong LORs is a good thing to have. Having good GRE TOEFL scores is a good thing to have. But pointer tops everything. So try to focus more on that. And once that is done, and you still have time and you still want to do something, you can focus on the other things.
Okay, so also some people wish to pivot to AI/ML in their masters. Is that a feasible choice? Have you seen anyone doing that?
So I cannot comment on that whether it's a feasible choice or not. But what I can say is, be like be known that the competition is really in those fields, like data science, AI, ML courses, and CSC also. Like many electrical guys also, they apply for masters in CS. That's also a very common thing that happens. Even in my batch also that happens. So I would say, like if you're going for that, brace yourself for very tough competition. And if you want to like basically have a good kind of a job where you want to like get some good packages or good job eventually after your masters, or like even in India also, like if you want to venture into that field, I think you need to like work little harder, I would say, because there's a lot of competition in that, because right now that's the hot topic, right? So everyone is into it. So yeah, you guys, I mean, whether to take it or not, I cannot say. Like if you want to learn it, of course you have to go and do that. You cannot just stick with, just because you're doing B.Tech in electrical engineering doesn't mean you will for life you will be working in the electrical field, right? So you might, of course, many people will switch their field. So it's a very common thing. So if someone wants to do it, they can do it. I can only give a suggestion where the competition is very high. So be ready for it.
Okay, thank you, sir. We can now open it to the audience. Like if someone wants to put something on the chat, please put it. We can take the questions from there itself. If you want to ask, like to the audience, if anyone else wants to ask some question, you can also raise your hands as well. Okay, so I think we had sufficed with the forms and everything. Uh, so finally, thank you, sir, for taking out your precious time and
Yeah,
uh,
no problem.
connecting with us. Also, how did you feel being connected back to your roots as well? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a it's a good experience. Like when you reached out, also, yeah, I thought like, yeah, it's good to talk to our colleagues. It's been a long time that I've come to Indore also, so yeah, it's good. It's a nice experience talking to all you guys. Yeah, you guys in college. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights.
Yeah, sure.
Those are those are just like very guiding for anyone who wants to pursue masters or even work in the VLSI industry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you want like to say share any advice or anything in general with us?
And nothing much. Like I would say, like enjoy your time at Indore. Go out, go to Sarafa regularly. Have good food. And enjoy your 4 years because that won't come again. So we miss a lot whenever we talk to someone from Indore or remind ourselves of our Indore days. We miss that a lot. So I think now the connectivity probably would be better also to the college and all to the city. When we were there, it was quite hard. So yeah, I would say like enjoy your time there. Try to get as high as a pointer as possible because that will not just help you for any particular job or masters. Of course, that it does, but it also gives you a lot of confidence when you need it the most. So yeah, I would say like focus on your studies a little bit, have some good pointer, and don't forget to enjoy. And don't forget to enjoy indoor. So that's it.
Okay, thank you so very much for
Thank you. Thank you, guys.